Good evening. In the final leg of Raisina, we still have one last panel, but we thought that it's a good time before the tables fold up and everyone wants to go home and run away. Mind you, there are some closed panels after that also, but official Raisina public program, the one which follows is the last one. So I thought this is a good time to say goodbye, to say thank you to a lot of the guests who've come here from very, very far away. We've really enjoyed the conversations, and I'm sure you also have enjoyed what has gone on. The thing is that this event 2025 has been called Kal Chakra. The Kal Chakra never ends. It goes on and on and on. It is ad infinitum. So we'll keep on getting you back to discuss various aspects of it. But I'll briefly, recount again what this Raisina has particularly meant, and for us, the kind of learnings and lessons at the very, very top 60,000 feet point of view, which we get out at the end of a dialogue like this one has been in particular. We are at a time when it's been extremely difficult to have certain conversations in certain parts of the world. That is not a good idea. That has never been a good idea. At Raisina, our effort has been to do the exact opposite. No matter what the difference is, you never close the possibility of talking about them, of having those difficult conversations. And why India becomes a place like that? Why is India a place where these conversations can happen? No, India has, if you look at India, India has two epics, big epics. One is the Ramayana, which is politically very at its high point, and everyone talks about the Ramayana. There's a second epic, the Mahabharata, which no one really talks about so much. The Mahabharata is a massive, massive, massive epic, over 100,000 verses. But the problem with the Mahabharata, what is the issues it is discussing? What is it talking about? The Mahabharata is primarily, it says it is about war. War is only one aspect of the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is a narrative within a narrative within a narrative within a narrative. That is the way the Mahabharata is constructed. It is about a multiplicity of narratives which are connecting the past, the present, and leading up into the future. It's a very, very, very complex epic. It's a complex epic about a very complex world. The Ramayana choices are simple. It belongs to an earlier, simpler age, where the choices between right and wrong were actually quite stark. And you could have battle lines drawn between them. The Mahabharata takes into a very different world, a world of ambiguity, a world where moral choices are not very clear, where you do not know what is right or wrong. The Mahabharata is not about a Manichaean universe of right and wrong, of black and white. No, it is in many ways a scenario replete with characters who choose to prove and choose between almost impossible conditions. And the characters themselves are extremely complicated. You don't have perfect teachers. Teachers make mistakes. They keep on making choices which are wrong. The patriarch takes a vow of celibacy, which then starts unfolding a process, which ends up in this great war. And then you have the very familiar story of the great warrior Arjuna on the battlefield, struck with the dilemma of, can I fight this war? Should I fight this war? And again, the answers which are given are not the perfect answers. What is that choice? Who makes that choice? Is it an individual choice? Is it a choice laid down by the gods or the teachers, or what is it? Who is guiding you? Mahabharata says there is no guide. Ultimately, it is a context. And righteousness, dharma, as it is laid down in the Mahabharata, has no easy answers. Dharma is difficult. And remember, we talk about free will. Free will is about difficult choices. If choices were not difficult, if the world were black and white, you would not need free will. Why do you need free will? To be human, to have free will, to live in democracies is difficult. To make difficult choices under difficult circumstances. And there are going to be arguments, there are going to be differences, there are going to be very, very, very different contexts, different nuances. Yes, the world is not black and white. It is full of colors. There are lots of nuances. It is not even gray. It is not even shades of gray. So, it's a complex world which we're handling and we're looking at. And within this Raisina, the whole concept of this particular Kal Chakra, which we have put up before you, was primarily about that fundamental issue of the difficulty of making ethical, moral choices in a world where you do not really know which is the right ethical choice. So how do you decide? Now, how do you decide is, you can decide by war, but Mahabharata will tell you that the war comes at a huge cost. And a peace which you get at the end of a war is a fragile peace. It will always be a fragile peace. And that peace is tinged with sorrow. It is tinged with immense sadness about what has preceded it and what it has destroyed. And recreating after that is even more difficult. So let the battles, the Kurukshetra, the battlefield be here at these tables. To have those difficult conversations, raise those choices before people, get those answers, which are not going to be easy answers. In a complex world, things do not operate in a linear fashion. They are complicated. And in the ultimate analysis, the best answer will never be the perfect answer. It will not satisfy everybody. And even if it satisfies everybody today, future generations may suffer. So who are we making choices for? The larger question arises when you start looking at the problems of the 21st century. Decisions today also impact the future. Which are the most important decisions? What is the present pain which you may have to go through to make gains for the future and survive? Which are the real big battles we need to fight? Are these the battles on climate change? Are these the battles on ecology? Are these the battles on differences between individual political leaders which arise from time to time? What are the battles that we're really fighting? Which are the important battles? And these are choices which each of us make, which countries make, which families make. So this complex intertwined world which we have, the interconnections between us, which get us all together. And that is what the Mahabharata is about. It's a very complex tale of family connections. Not just family connections. It's a tale of connections across societies, across different values. It's a complicated, just like the value chains which are running around in the world today, snaking around in the world today, where you do not really know where one country's interest ends and the other one's begins. How do you break them up? How do you split them up? And you find, as you start doing it, it is impossible. You can't do it. Because every time you try to do it, you discover out of something that you're hurting yourself. So in these dilemmas, in these choices, how do we get that clear vision to first of all decide who are we deciding for, what are we deciding? And the only answers which will come out is through these conversations, not through the battles and wars which we fight. So let the battles be in the Kurukshetra of ideas. And this is the Kurukshetra of ideas which we've created, which you've called Kal Chakra. And I hope you keep coming back time and time again to the Raisina dialogues to participate in this, to this fascinating world of free will, choice, and deciding. Deciding what is righteousness, which is extremely difficult to find out because dharma does not define righteousness. Thank you.